Friends, good afternoon and welcome to our beautiful site here in Poe Valley State Park in the mountains of central Pennsylvania. In today's episode, we're going to start things off with giving Rachel her birthday present a day early because she's going to need it in the morning, and there won't be time in the morning to get it all set up for her. So we've got a great adventure planned for you, and we hope you'll stick around. But this is it here. It's a lot wider, and it's got memory foam. It says Tailbones Memory Foam Saddle. She was actually quite a bit more excited about it than I expected her to be.
You sit on one of those bicycle seats and then tell me how excited you are to get something that is way better. Oh, it says waterproof vinyl, waterproof cover. So I'm not going to say my butt's not going to get wet if it rains, because you'll still have to wipe it off. But it shouldn't soak in.
We do try not to go out in the rain if at all possible. Tomorrow we're going over to Poe Valley Tunnel, which is 3 miles in, 3 miles back. It's not that long of a ride, but this should really help her when we go to Leonard Harrison later. We're going to be doing quite a bit of biking over at Pennsylvania Grand Canyon, and then who knows what. We're going to finish this all up, and then we're headed to bed because we're getting up early in the morning to get this done prior to the heat. I don't think it's going to be that bad tomorrow, but it's also, we want to get it done prior to thunderstorms that are potential for the afternoon tomorrow.
You know what's shocking? Both kids are asleep already.
Well, they've had a big day, kind of.
I'm just surprised. Last night it took William like an hour, well, maybe 2, to go to sleep, and he's out.
Alright, well, we'll see you bright and early in the morning. If you're not morning people, the good news is we have to get up early in the morning and do it, but you can watch this at your content.
He's not a morning person, and I keep telling everybody I'm a morning person by necessity, because he's worse than I am in the morning.
Yeah, but it'd be even worse if I had to bike ride in 90 degrees outside.
We gotta get up. We gotta get up and get fed, and feed the small children, and then we can have our fun.
Friends, good morning. Are you ready to go for a bike ride?
Yeah! Hello.
Are you ready to do a bike ride?
Yeah. I get to test out my comfy new seat.
The camera lens is all fogged up now. We've been having troubles with the humidity screwing up the camera lens, so you can't see anything that I just filmed, but you heard me, so we'll fix the lens and we're headed out.
It really is fogged up.
Well, friends, we have had just a small change of plan. We decided to start today here at Poe Paddy State Park. To get to Cherry Run Road, it looked like probably was going to be a journey. And we're already kind of getting started a little later than I'd like, and I want to try to get whatever we're doing done before it rains. Plus, we do want to go back to Poe Valley and enjoy the beach. It's going to accomplish the same thing. Still should be about 6 miles. Going that way, I'm not sure what's down that way. We might do that later, but going back that way towards Cherry Run Road, it says 3.2 miles. So, like I said, eventually we're going to discover a tunnel, and I think there's some bridges and some cool scenery. So that's our plan for today. We're going to get the kids in the trailer here and get started. So the sign here, friends, talks about Poe Paddy State Park, how it was built by the CCC back in the 1930s. Like so many places in Pennsylvania and beyond, the CCC had to restore the whole environment because It was all logged and it was all left a wasteland essentially. But they also did a lot of work in restoring the streams because the logging companies were using streams like Penns Creek here behind me to transport the lumber. So they dug out the center and they straightened them out. Basically, I guess it was a log flume is what you would call it. But that's not good for the trout or other native fish species. That's why the brook trout pretty much no longer exist. So the CCC and lots of organizations like Trout Unlimited since then have restored the streams to the curvy shape and restored the shade along the streams to keep the temperatures cool. You'll notice quite many signs here at Penns Creek, because it is such a highly fished stream, that if the temperature of the water rises to above a certain degree, and lots of people debate that online and stuff, so I'm not going to get into what degree, but there's a point where you can't fish no more, because whether you keep that fish and kill it or not, or you throw it back, that fish is dead after it exerted all that strength fighting you. So there's lots of signs around here talking about that and how you should check the temperature, especially this time of year, before you fish. That's why I didn't even bring fishing stuff, because I just assumed it was too hot. There was a guy fishing here this morning. Right here looks like a great spot though. If I was going to fish, friends, it'd be right here. It says June is a good time here because of the green drake hatch, which that makes sense. One of these days, maybe we'll bring you along up here. We'll book a site at Poe Valley for June, and we'll come fly fishing up here, and I'll show you what it's all about. Alright, so friends, this is why I wanted to do this the opposite way, is so that you'd be seeing the best part of the trail last. But we're here, and we're here now, so this is what it is. I don't know if the stone fascia out here is original, and then the wall on the inside is not, but I would have to imagine even the stone fascia, they had to restore it to redo the inside. Looks really cool just the same. Now that inside that we just rode through is essentially just a pipe wrapped in concrete or something, I would assume. And then that little entryway you can see up there, that's where the bats get in and out. So I think there's an endangered species of bats that lived here. I was hoping for some sort of interpretive signs around to kind of guide us through, but there's nothing in this area as far as that goes. But I do know there's bats. It's a bat habitat, and that's why they have it like this. Pretty cool old tunnel. It's neat to ride through. What did you think of the tunnel?
It was really cool. It curves inside, so that was neat.
The kids enjoyed it, but now they want to get back on the road.
Yeah, they need to get moving.
So we're going to keep on riding. We have 3 miles left to go.
What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through.
Friends, I'm not quite certain what this is here, but it's pretty neat, and you can tell it's a man-made structure of some kind. Looks to me like an old spring house, or spring of some kind. I don't hear any kind of water though. That's kind of the one thing that turns me off as far as that goes, but it could be. It could just be dried up. One unique thing about this trail here is not only the forest that you're riding through, it's very pretty. Right here you've got a bunch of white pines, and there were hemlocks back the way. So it's a very pretty trail. And it's also part of the Midstate hiking trail. So if you're a hiker or backpacker, there's a good chance you may come through here. I haven't seen a lot of people on YouTube do the Midstate Trail, or at least people that I follow. So I don't know what it is as far as scenery goes. We haven't really been on it much, but actually this is probably the most we've done of the Midstate Trail, I would think. But a very good section of trail here. So friends, we've reached the end of the trail. We did 3.2 miles to get here. Towing these kids behind me, I would say it feels like I just did 10 miles. You know, the thing about doing stuff like this is you really have to love doing it in order to do it with small children. And then you got to take the thing that you really love and do quite a bit less of it, because they slow your range, shorten your range when it comes to hiking, and especially biking. I used to do a lot more than, we're going to end up doing 6 miles today, probably a little more actually, because I want to do the other end. After we get back to the truck, we're going to continue on some. But so even say we do 7 miles today, well, it's a lot less than half of what I used to do in a day. I think Rachel's picked every wineberry in this spot for the kids, so we're gonna head on back to the truck. We're gonna go past the truck down the trail because I think there might be something down there, but I don't want to tell you about it until I confirm that I'm even thinking about the right place. So
There's definitely more there. They're just all down the hill and I can't get to them because there's nice thorns on those bushes.
yeah, the wineberries have thorns, so be careful if you're picking them.
I can't get down there.
But I'm sure there's a bunch more back by the truck too, so once we're done, we'll get more. I was wrong. This isn't where what I thought. So there's essentially nothing to see down this way. Don't worry about coming this way. I mean, it is a decent view, I guess, of the stream if that's something that you're interested in.
And there's trails along the side. You can walk down in the water.
Yeah, I mean, if you had a fishing rod, this would be a good stretch of water in through here. But, all right, we're going back to the truck. We're going back to the camper. Enjoy the AC for a little bit probably, and then we're going swimming. So that's our day today. Well, friends, we are really loving everything about Poe Valley State Park. The remoteness of it really provides a unique experience. The problem with that is when you forget something, finding it can be a little bit of a challenge. What did we forget?
Bread.
So, because today is Rachel's birthday and she asked for pie, well, we can't really make a pie, but we're going to try to do apple pie mountain pies later. But you can't really do that without bread.
Yeah, I forgot it because I was planning on doing French toast for breakfast one morning, and then I thought, we don't need to do French toast again. So then I thought, oh, I don't need bread, and I completely forgot about the mountain pie situation, so.
But we're also toying with doing breakfast mountain pies in the morning, so if we can find a place to get some eggs and some bread, that's our plan. It's a little bit drizzly and rainy, so we're gonna hold off on doing the beach until later this afternoon if the weather perks up some.
I see a little bit of blue sky, so I think it's starting to clear out.
Well, friends, we're about to start dinner. Got a mediocre fire as always. We're just making some hot dogs and some apple pie mountain pies, which we're going to show you here in a few minutes. But before we get too far into dinner, wanted to tell you guys how much we love this place.
I know I want to come back, and it's not very often that I feel that way about a campground, because I was not expecting very much out of this weekend. I'm going to be perfectly honest. It's a really small state park. I didn't know what all there was to do around here, so I was just not expecting that much. But I do want to come back. It's just got one of those feelings, like exactly what we had at Colonel Denning, where we're happy to just, you know, take some time at the campground. Both days we've walked up to the beach. It's been really great for the kids. So
the atmosphere here is awesome. There's a lot of families here, a lot of kids out playing, and that kind of stuff is just really good to see. I think it's a really good family atmosphere. The scenery in the area is awesome. All the buildings and infrastructure here at the state park, everything is...
It's all updated, not like brand new, but it's all updated compared to a lot of other state parks that we've been to.
And in a well done way. Like, just because you update something doesn't make it nice. Like the shower houses and the buildings and the concessions at the beach, which they actually have concessions over there, which a lot of state parks...
I was surprised by that too, to be perfectly
Yeah,
honest.
and they have food and ice cream and stuff like that just makes the experience good. And like the people at the beach and stuff, like it wasn't overly crowded, but it
wasn't crowded, but everybody up there was really friendly. Like they were happy to connect with you and start a conversation just because.
I mean, the whole vibe around here is awesome.
I like it.
So we've been having a good time. This, for me, is definitely in the top 5 Pennsylvania state park, and definitely in our, like, as far as Pennsylvania camping experiences that we've had. So we highly recommend coming here.
Yeah, this one, Kettle Creek, Ole Bowl, and Colonel Denning, I think.
I like Blue Knob. Yeah, so if you can see the fire over there, it looks better if you get up on it. It rained just before we came over here, and so there's a lot of moisture in the fire pit itself. Friends, I think we showed you this apple pie, mountain pie thing once before. A lot of people will use like canned apple pie filling when they do this, but I've discovered that when you're cooking the mountain pie, it doesn't get the actual pie filling cooked enough. And so the best way to do that, if you're using the canned stuff, would be to heat it up first. If I'm going through the trouble to do that, friends, I'd rather have a homemade filling. Plus, this is for Rachel's birthday, so we want it to be good. Alright, so friends, by no means do you need a Dutch oven to do this, but anything with a lid will do. That's to keep most of the moisture inside. We're starting off with just a little bit of water in the bottom of it, and then I'm going to put the apples in. You can take the lid off at some point to let the water escape, but you don't want the stuff to stick. Towards the end, then, you're going to add some butter, because butter is the key to good apple pie filling. When you're doing a real apple pie, you put the butter on the top before you put the second crust on. All the same kind of stuff. So we got the apples cut up here. This is full of cinnamon sugar. We're gonna dump all that stuff in. Try to use the same cinnamon sugar like you would in a regular apple pie. We like the Betty Crocker cookbook for that. Pretty simple. But of course you're making a lot less, so you'll need the same ratio but a lot less of it. So the keys to a good mountain pie in my experience are preheating your pie iron, and we use butter on the outside of the bread, so confusing, and you've probably seen in the footage I always try to put the butter on the inside for some reason, and then I realize it's supposed to be on the outside, and that prevents it from sticking, and it also makes the outside of the crust golden. The apples kind of looked dark. They're not burnt. I think it's just whatever color came from the cast iron. Yeah, hopefully this turns out okay, and we'll let you know here shortly. It only takes about a minute on each side, and you want to make sure you flip the pie iron over, that way it cooks evenly.
Is that the mountain pie? I see the apples inside.
So the next pro tip, friends, when it comes to apple pie mountain pies, is to use some good apples, not just the random ones your 4-year-old grabbed off the shelf at the grocery store.
Well, the last bag she picked were good.
You probably noticed when I was cutting them up that their color was a bit off. You got to use what you got. They weren't too bad though. They just weren't good.
They just weren't good.
But
at least they weren't like the sawdust texture. That would have been terrible.
Yeah, the idea is good. The recipe is good. We know it works.
You can't go wrong with gala apples. I should have looked for those.
Anything tart is good for an apple pie. It's not quite apple season yet. It's still July, so not all the best kind are available fresh right at this particular moment.
Yeah.
Right now we're just kind of meandering around the state park here, getting the dogs their evening walk. We'll probably see you in the morning where we are doing breakfast mountain pies, and those don't involve apples, so
Sausage. That's what I wanted to do. Get the sausage.
yeah, and we need to make sure we get the sausage out of the freezer, otherwise we won't be having breakfast mountain pies. Alright friends, good morning. As promised this morning, we're doing breakfast mountain pies. We're moving a little bit slow this morning. I think it's pushing 10 o'clock. Our goal though is by 10 to get over to the pavilion. They're doing a talk on the CCC, the Rangers are, which pretty excited about. I might film some of it, or I might just tell you what we learned. I know we talk about the CCC a lot on the channel, so any knowledge that I can gain to bring to you through that would be awesome. But yeah, I'm gonna do this one last mountain pie, and then we're gonna get out of here. Because we're not doing for the eggs, we're just frying them and then we crack the yolk, so kind of like over easy, but without the yolky like inside, because that would just spill out all over the place. I use pepper jack cheese because I like pepper jack cheese, and sausage, and they're probably my favorite breakfast, but we don't do them very often because we normally don't have a fire in the morning, and they are a good bit of effort to make. Yeah, we're usually in a rush to go on some sort of adventure, but well, what did you think?
I'm glad we came up for the program. They had a musical part, so that was cool. Got to listen to some guitar and banjo music and something else.
Yeah. It was interesting to me to hear that guy talk about how bad things really were during the Depression. Like the numbers.
Certainly can't complain about it.
I'm sure we learned about them in school and stuff. But,
Yeah, but he had them up there, and the way he presented them, they really kind of hit you.
but yeah, that was the situation that kind of forced people into working with CCC. The other thing that was interesting to me was the scale of the CCC, and he talked a lot about it. There was 250,000 young boys brought into the program over a very short span of time, almost overnight, and they had to organize 1,200 camps with 200 people per camp, and the military was brought into it kind of by necessity because nobody else had the infrastructure and the management in place to put on such a program.
What I heard was interesting was like you manage that many people, especially men, and no offense, but you're bound to have squabbles and disputes and issues, and it sounded like what he said the most effective quote-unquote punishment was a threat of knock it off or you're going home.
Yeah, which like nowadays you tell someone to go home from work and they don't care. And I guess that's what I was getting to, was like the staggering numbers and the depression is people think things are bad today or bad. Listen, based on what they were just saying, we haven't experienced bad or even anything remotely close to bad.
No, because think about it. They got paid $1 a day, and the threat of losing that $1 a day was enough to have people cool their heels and get back to work.
Yeah, I mean,
that's crazy.
And they weren't even getting that $1 a day. They were sending $25 of the $30 they got paid per month back home, so they only got to keep $5. So it was essentially they had such respect for their families that they couldn't leave because their families needed that $25.
And something else that I thought was interesting, I didn't know this either, was they did not work Saturday and Sunday, but they were still paid for those days.
Yes.
So that was interesting too. I didn't know that.
Back at the program they had, and I should have got pictures of it or something, the blueprints of this dam. This dam here was built by the CCC. I didn't know that the dam was built by the CCC, but it was. So pretty cool. The CCC camp for this area, I believe he said it was down the road and you make a left. I'm assuming Sand Mountain Road, but I don't know. He did not say that. There is a marker there. At some point, if we come back to this state park, which I would say is highly likely, we'll try to go find maybe the CCC camp for you. This dam is a pretty impressive structure down towards the campground where Rachel is. It's pretty high, so pretty cool. So I guess our plan then is to get packed up and head on out of here. As much as we have enjoyed our time here,
it's a not terribly long way home, but it's long enough. Plus, I think we might be going a different way out of here, so I want to have enough time in case we get lost.
Yeah, there's no cell phone signal here for sure, so you want to have a good amount of route planning and things done. But we've enjoyed our time here at Poe Valley State Park, so tune in next week because we got some good stuff coming up. Our next trip will kind of be balls to the walls again, so lots of exciting things though as we make our return to West Virginia. So subscribe and like this video so it can spread to more people. And we'll see you next Thursday at 5 o'clock.